Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't ever met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
I have not.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the hook right here.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget. Live, not so live from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill. We are back this week, and this is the podcast for Monday, July the 12th. And we are not at Watson's Dojo of Love anymore. If you saw last week's, I've been doing some moving and shaking, man. I've been traveling around and spending some time in the truck, and glad to be home for a couple days anyways before we kick off the NPFL at Pickwick, which is, just an hour down the road. I'm going to be staying over there at Pickwick Land and State Park this week, but glad to be home for a couple days. And then we head on to ICAST after that, so lots going on. Welcome all you low-lifers. And if you are new to this program and you're wondering what a low-lifer is, well, that's you now. That's you. All the listeners of this program, whether they love it or hate it, they are the low-lifers. That's what they call themselves. So welcome. Welcome, new and old low-lifers. Kicked off the show with a song by me called Biloxi Blues. We got some new music out there, and I got a funny one for you. So through all this new music, me and Shannon Wheeler would throw 3 songs out there, and I was registering the songs. You do the copyright thing, you do all this, kind of thing on your own music to protect yourself, to get paid if it ever were to, do anything, that kind of stuff. And just the legalities of music, whatnot. Last week, I played a song called Better by the Glass to end the show, and I got flagged on YouTube by my own music. Like, what? Immediately when it went out, I'm like emailing YouTube, "Dear YouTube, this is my song. I recorded it. I wrote it. Leave me alone." But I got flagged last week over Better by the Glass. Y'all go check out those new songs. They're on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. 3 songs that Shannon Wheeler and I recorded right here at the LBL Bar and Grill back in December. We call it the COVID sessions, but I kind of get a little plug in there. But yeah, I got flagged by freaking YouTube. And I run all my music through the secondary site that places it for you on Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of thing because, independent artist and songwriter is kind of the thing that you have to do. You don't have a record label. And, I got flagged on YouTube by my own music. So, good times. It's like, this video could not be monetized because of Luke Duncan and Low Budget Records. So, anyways, I had to dispute a claim against me by me. It was very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. But thanks for the kind words on those songs to those of you that have listened so far, man. We had fun with that. I'm going to keep shoving them down your throat. I'm going to play them on here. I just got to figure out a better way to do it without YouTube coming after me over my own music. But been like I said, been traveling around. Did Boats and Pros with Watson. That's going to be up the last week of July, which a lot of y'all enjoy those. I enjoy filming those more than anything that I've ever done. And so grateful for James to let us come to his house and film one of those, myself and Tanner Lyons. Had a great time. And then doing an LBL with James was awesome as well. But Boats and Pros coming back strong the last week of July. We're going to get that one out to you. Boats and Pros with James Watson. And something that happened while I was out there. Something that happened that it's something that has bugged me my entire, history on this earth a few times. But I started getting, the boys and I had done some things around here at the house, 4th of July weekend, and my arms started itching a little bit. Like, man, what's this going on? I got this weird itch on my face. I'm like, what is this? Yeah, poison oak and like a deathly case of it. I am, you can't see me too good here, but man, I've got it. I had it on my eyes, my ears, my neck. It's been bad. I've been to the doctor about it, got some shots. It ain't touching this crap. Yeah, pretty miserable right now, guys. So if I seem a little out of it, it's because I'm on some souped up Benadryl that the doctor gave me. And I can barely keep my head up and my eyes open when I take it. But holy crap. I went and got some steroid shots because normally, I'm allergic to it, but normally, just a little bit of, there's some over-the-counter stuff that I've always used. Knocks it right out. Not the case this time. So if y'all got any poison oak remedies, drop them in the comments for me because I'm miserable. Like this arm, it's just not good. I'm up all night. And you try not to scratch, but it's impossible. So, been dealing with that all week, and I'm about to lose my mind over the poison oak. About to lose my mind. So, yeah, that's what I've been dealing with. Want it to go away. This ear I look like a UFC fighter. I look like Dustin Poirier beat the crap out of me. And this ear, it's all swollen. It's terrible, terrible situation. But hopefully on the mend. But it's been interesting the last few days. Dealing with, there are two things in the woods that are the devil. Chiggers, if you live where I live, and poison oak. And they both, just nasty. Kill me every single year, whether it's hanging deer stands, working the yard. I'm always going to get a dose of it at some point every single year. And I got mine this time. So been dealing with the poison oak. I'm not a rush to the doctor kind of guy. But when it got around my eye in both eyes, and this eye was like kind of swollen shut. I'm like, you know what? Probably should go get some shots. So got it all knocked out, and grateful for hopefully being on the mend and my eye being a little bit better than it was. I'm also grateful for the fine sponsors of the show. We're going to kick things off here. Got a good one for you today, but got to go through these sponsors because they make every bit of this possible. And they've been paying my doctor bills this week. So big thanks to the fine folks at Startron Starbright, kicking ethanol in the teeth for over 4 years now with the LBL crew, making it all possible. They were the first official sponsor of LBL, and they are with me on this ride. Startron, a little dab in your tank will take care of ethanol. This bottle right here treats 256 gallons. 256 gallons of fuel. That ethanol just sneaks in there. Like you see it at the pump, 10%, contains 10% ethanol. That 10% will mess up your weed eater, mess up your chainsaw, mess up your outboard engine. Put some Startron in your tank. Get rid of it. Get it out of there. Kick it in the teeth with Startron. They also make Starbright cleaning products. I use them all the time. Carpet clean, boat guard, vinyl guard, you name it. They got an array. If you ever get any mildew, this is one that always amazes me. But they have a mildew stain remover that they sell it at everywhere, Walmart, all over. I promise you it takes mildew off of boat seats. And I've seen some, we've been restoring an old boat here at the house, and that my dad found, and really does wonders. So mildew stain remover, but the fine folks, Startron, Starbright, we appreciate them so much for bringing you low budget life for almost 4 years now. They're the OG low-lifers because they believed in this craziness before anybody did. So shout out to my Florida brethren, Starbright, Startron. Sims Clothing, got to, another week rocking that Sims, got to fish a little bit towards the end of the week, and I needed to be covered up because of the poison oak. I was trying not to let that stuff get away from me there. So the Solar Flex hoodies, I've been having to wash them twice because they got poison oak all over them. Solar Flex hoodies have been coming in clutch, but then I fished a little tournament yesterday and sucked. My man Hudson was out of town yesterday, and I fished with a good buddy of mine, Chad Aaron, and we had a great day on the water. NPFL pro, Chad Aaron, I might add. But we had a great day on the water, but not so much in the means of competing with anybody yesterday. Lord have mercy. But we got to wear out some Sims rain gear because it has been raining, to say the least, in southern Middle Tennessee the last few days, and it's going to right up until time for the NPFL. So it's going to be could throw some curveballs at the NPFL, to be honest with you. But love that Sims Pro Guide. Got to wear it yesterday. Always keeps you dry. It's always lightweight. You ain't burning up out there in the summertime wearing it while it's 80 degrees and coming a flood on your head. So I'm here to remind all of you low-lifers, you get one life, fish it well. Pro Guide Batteries, the folks at Pro Guides have a big announcement on July 20th. I almost slipped up last week. I almost slipped up and ruined the surprise for everybody. But on July 20th, Pro Guide, they're taking everything to the next level, and they got a big announcement coming, so you're going to want to tune in for all the battery news right here. LBL, they'll be making posts about it, but it's a big deal for them. I'm happy to be a part of it, and I've been running those 31 AGMs all year this year with no issues. Really loving those batteries, and the next level of Pro Guide is something to get excited about. So if you would like to get some Pro Guide batteries, try them out. Get on their website, use code LBL10 for 10 off. And 10% off, of course, and appreciate that. You low-lifers have worn that code out, and that makes me happy. Last but not least, hang the dang banner right here. Express Boats, hang the banner. Another top 10 for Express Boats. Caleb Summerall, he's having a hell of a year, man. Another top 10 up at Champlain for him. The Bassmaster Elite series that just wrapped up just a little bit ago. Express Boats, the official boat of Low Budget Live and the Traveling Circus, and yet again, a newbie in the Express X21 yesterday. And it never gets old, I'll be honest, hearing compliments when you take somebody that's, never been out in the Express, because that tends to be what happens every time I take a fresh guest out in the X21. So many compliments, but my buddy Chad and I, we fished yesterday. He's like, dude, I can't get over how stable this boat is. The sea deck is, if I hear anything about the sea deck, one more time, my head might explode. But sea deck. But it's so cool, and I have really enjoyed fishing out of that boat. I'm going to do a video. I had a request. I thought this was pretty cool. Somebody wanted me to do like an update, like show us the boat, show us the wear and tear. I'm 6 months in now, fished a lot out of it, and just kind of like our overall review. I try to do that before the month's out for those of you interested in that kind of video. Try to do monthly videos on the Express showing you different things, but I'm going to do basically like another walkthrough just to kind of show you where I'm at with it. Loving that Yamaha show, though. On the back, it is I sound like a broken record every week, but you know what? I love it. I'm proud to be a part of Team Express. They're great people, and they have been building excitement since 1966 out there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I promise you, if you ever go riding one, you'll be like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my time with something else? So thanks to the folks from Express Boats for bringing you Low Budget Live and the Traveling Circus. All right, moving on. So it's been a busy week at Bass. When Watson and I, we recorded last week, we were out there at the Dojo of Love, Table Rock Lake, and having a good time. And the announcement, we talked about the John Cox situation, the disqualification situation. And James gave us his thoughts on that. And while we were talking about it, the news had actually came out that he had been disqualified. I didn't check. I hadn't checked any media outlets for that news. But then John texted me later that the word had came down that he was disqualified. So, and he knew it was coming, right? He knew it was coming, and he's cool with it. John's good with it. I think that it will affect him, going down the road. I had a lot of comments yesterday, a lot of messages, people sending me things. He wore his MLS jersey on stage at the Open, and on day 3 of Champlain. Of course, he had a great event there. Finished out his year strong, but he doesn't get to fish the St. Lawrence, and he's disqualified. And it's probably going to cost him the Classic, most likely. But and I think short of maybe a top 10 this week, and it still might have been hard. But he wore his MLF jersey on stage, his one with the MLF badge. Identical jersey sponsor-wise, but had MLF on it instead of Bass. And Bass takes that stuff very serious, and so does FLW in the past, RIP FLW. And MLF, they want their badges. NPFL the same way. We want our logos on the jerseys of the anglers. And he did not wear a Bass logo across stage. And I believe by Bass rules, you can be fined for that. I'm sure they might just leave that one alone. I would if I was them. But not sure what that meant. A lot of people were tagging me in it. John is not a malicious person by any right whatsoever. I think he's very frustrated by the decision. But, he and I text back and forth about it. He's like, man, moving on. But I do hate it for Bass because I feel like he will not fish again next year, and that's too bad. But maybe that opens up a spot for a guy that was going to get booted out. I don't know. Maybe that opens up a classic spot for somebody that needed it worse than John did, because John's had an incredible year, like he normally does. And I don't know. I hate it. And it's like James and I said last week, I do think there was some confusion in that entire situation. And I do think it's odd that rules can be bent in certain situations, but not in others. When it came to requalifications for bass and things like that after the big split, we could bend rules, but in this situation, it was not okay, and it's a hard line thing, and now John is out. So, but yeah, there was a lot of people tagging me in that, a lot of people sending me that and wearing his MLF jersey. I really don't know what I think about it, I don't know. I think it's if he did it maliciously, and John is not a malicious person, I mean, I feel like he had to think about it before he did it, and I feel like it is a little bit of like okay, see y'all, call me maybe. I don't know. But maybe there were some misunderstandings there that we didn't know anything about, and it was just kind of a middle finger. I don't know. John's not a middle finger kind of guy. He just kind of loves life. And from my conversations with John, not on a podcast, but friend to friend, there was no like animosity in that decision once it had happened. I mean, he assumed it was coming, right? So, I don't know. A lot of people tagging me in that. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's over and done with now. A lot of people were spirited about that. I had sponsors reach out to me about talking about it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. John will now fish a Toyota series instead of the Elite series next week. And then we'll, wrap his year with BPT and see what happens there. I'm sure he'd probably win another one, knowing John Boy. Something else that popped up from Bass, and I actually saw this on, I've been hearing this. I didn't just see this. Some of y'all tagged me in this too. On Trade Zaldane made an official post, an official post from her Instagram that Bass is definitely not for sale. And some of y'all tagged me in it, like wanted me to have Trade on. I wasn't going to have Trade on about the matter because, frankly, her husband was fishing the last day of the Elite Series, and I wasn't going to bug Trade for an interview about her post. Trade is obviously very passionate about Bassmaster and what goes on there, and her and Chris have. There are meme accounts going both ways at times, and they're targeted in that and blamed for being like some of the meme accounts. I don't think that they are. Y'all know where I stand on meme accounts. I think they're idiotic and stupid. And if you have anything to say, just say it from your face. And that's what Trade did. They're trying to. I think the word is, and I heard this. I heard this at the Classic from some guys, friends of mine that fish MLF, that said that, it's being told that that MLF is going to buy Bassmaster. Years ago, I would have said no way in hell that ever happens, but I'm in a situation in life right now where I work for a company that I was also told would never sell, and it sold. And I think there are a lot of other companies out there that say they'll never sell, but they sell. Now, would it take the absolute right price for them to, or amount of money for them to sell to Boyd Duckett? Absolutely. I mean, I don't think that's anything the Andersons would want to do. And that was kind of the gist of Trait's post, was she trusts the Andersons, and good for her for posting it and doing it from who she is. And not hiding behind a fake profile to do so. I applauded that, But as far as just talking to her about it, she doesn't fish the Elite Series. She does fish the Opens. And short of talking to like Chase Anderson himself, those kind of rumors, man, like I just don't know. I don't know. I don't, in my gut, I don't think that the first buyer of Bass would be Boyd Duckett if they were going to sell it. Like I truly, at my core, do not believe that. And furthermore, I don't know anything about anybody's financial situations or whatever, but I feel like a lot of money was spent by an FLW, and in my opinion, it doesn't look like things are just overwhelmingly financially incredible at the Bass Pro Tour. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think that that's what they would want ultimately, is to buy it all and own it all and own the name of the classic, and then everything's just kind of is what it is. But I don't know. In this whole world, man, this fishing industry, I certainly would not be surprised if bass sold again. Now, whether it sells to Boyd Duckett and career, I don't know. I can't speak to that. But, I think the Andersons, they got in right at a time when the shit hit the fan, and, I can't speak for them and their opinions on how bass is doing. I just know, and we're going to talk a little bit about this with our guest today, but professional bass fishing is hard. It's hard from an organizational standpoint. It's hard from an angler standpoint. As far as financial situations are concerned, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's just not. Whether you're bass, whether you're MLF, like it's not an easy way to make a lot of money running these tournaments, man. There's a lot that goes into it, and we've seen that with BPT, like pulling back. Hey, we're going no entry fee. No, we're not. We're going to pay entry fees. It's expensive to do this, especially with the payroll that you have, and I don't know, like boots on the ground at these events. It costs a lot of money to run tournaments. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's an interesting time, to say the least. I don't think that's anything we're going to see overnight. Now, Trait, in her post, she was very confident about it, and I can't speak to that, like I said. But I feel like she's had a conversation with somebody, if she's put something in print that's that adamant, right? So we'll see. Time will tell. Had a lot of comments last week too about MLF not paying their anglers. I don't personally know anybody that hasn't gotten paid. That being said, do I personally know anybody that would tell me they haven't got paid by BPT because of some of the things I talk about on this podcast? I don't know. I've got a lot of good friends, but Watson and I, there were some comments like, Watson's part owner and he's hiding. No, we never talked about it because it just didn't come up in conversation. Like, it wasn't something that I wanted to talk about, because that like bass selling is another just, pretty big rumor that I don't have any truth about. I've heard that, but I hear more of it from meme accounts again than I do actual people. If Jacob Wheeler calls me and goes, hey man, I won again and the check didn't clear, well, then I could probably, you could probably take that as fact. I don't know. I know that they've made a lot of moves, man, and like I said, it's not an easy business to be in. So we'll see. We'll see on that too. I don't think that's something that anybody's going to publicly disclose those. Like, hey, this is the tournament trail fish, and I got 3 checks and they didn't pay me unless they just don't get paid. And then those stories will resolve themselves, I promise you. Because if a pro fisherman doesn't get paid 2 or 3 tournaments in a row, like, you're going to hear about it publicly from somebody. You're going to hear about it. But at the end of the day, there's all these conspiracy theories, and it's bass fishing. It's bass fishing, guys. So I like to speak out about it. I like to talk about it. I like all the dirt and the details, but I don't have all the answers. That's for damn sure. Text our guest real quick. Huge congratulations to Brian Schmidt. Brian is one of the greatest anglers, I feel like, in the country. Had the pleasure of competing against Brian on the FLW Tour. Such a great guy and an incredible grass fisherman, incredible northern fisherman. His track record at Champlain speaks for itself, but he got the dub up there at the Elite Series this afternoon as I record on Sunday. But congrats to him. Keith Combs almost ran him down, though. Keith, who's really been like uncharacteristically not dominating like Keith Combs does for the last couple of years, but Keith had a big tournament up there, finished in second place. Austin Felix, another dude that is like a Champlain guaranteed top 10. It's amazing. Never fished a tournament against Felix up there that he wasn't in the top 10. Just incredible. But the overwhelming theme, though, like it's been all year, is Seth Fighter. Holy buckets, man. Fighter leading AOI by a lot. going into the St. Lawrence River. It's not even going to be interesting to watch. And all of you should watch the NPFL Pickwick, frankly, because the AOI is going to be a blowout, and they're going to catch a bunch of smallmouth. But, Fighter, another top 10, man, just an incredible season. And heard Ronnie Moore talking about it on live that in normal years, the guys that are all behind Seth, based on their finishes, those would be good enough to just be blowing out AOI. But Seth's been so freaking great this year. It's an impressive year for him, and short of just getting shot by a missile at the St. Lawrence River by Patrick Walters and his live scope, I think that we'll see Fighter walk away with that for sure. But congrats to him on that. Congrats to all those guys. Destin DeMarion, it was cool. Destin's one of those guys I don't know a lot about, but he's been out there, had his best finish this week up there at Champlain. He's great on camera. It was fun watching him. I got to watch a little bit on Fox, and it's pretty good stuff watching him get excited. He's one of those guys fighting for requalification. There's several of those, so we'll see how that will play out, going into 2022 for some of those guys. But pretty daggum cool tournament. They smashed on them at Champlain. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been in the country, and it's amazing the difference in a 3-pound bass and like a 3.5-pound bass there in the standings, man. It makes all the difference in the world. And it's so cool to see the guys that really do get dialed on where the better, heavier fish, what kind of patterns they're on. There's, you would think it would come down to luck, but it really doesn't. Like they get it dialed, they figure it out. And it's pretty fun to watch, but good event up there for bass. They'll take it into the St. Lawrence River. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Bassmaster Opens are going to be on Fox now. I saw that announcement. The final days of the Bassmaster Opens for the rest of the year, now that the Elites are over with in July, after next week, are going to be on Fox Sports like the Elites have been. That's pretty cool. Very cool for the Opens guys. Thought that was be some good exposure for some dudes out there. All right, we're going to make a phone call right now to my guest today. This is a tricky one for me. It's a tricky one. No, this is my guest today is one of my bosses at the National Professional Fishing League. He is an absolute straight shooter of a human. He is someone that in the last year of my life, we met last year in August, I have come to get to know very well. I'm proud to call him a friend. I'm proud to call him a coworker, and I really respect his ideas, his thoughts, and a lot. And we're going to have a candid conversation today about the National Professional Fishing League and everything we got going on coming up and how he thinks this year has gone so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Fuller.
What's up, lowlifers?
I like that. That was very musical of you.
I've been sitting here for 15 minutes waiting on how I was going to intro myself because I knew you weren't going to give me one of those worldwide.
I gave you
intro.
Buddy, I gave you a good one.
Okay. All right.
I gave you a really good one. All right. Full disclosure, maybe the best one I've ever given anybody. I almost cried. It was so good.
And you'd think I signed your checks or something. Bro.
Exactly. I told everybody also that this was a very interesting one because I don't interview a lot of my bosses and put them on the spot about shit that could get me in trouble.
Well, listen, bro. You and I both know that we can say what we want, but I know who your boss is, and you know who mine is.
That's a fact. Yeah, that is very, very, very true. Well, I talked about a lot of stuff before I, as I always do, before I got to you here, and so first of all, we got Pickwick Lake coming up this week. I was just talking about the Bassmaster Angler of the Year race, but the other Angler of the Year race that's going on right now in the world of professional bass fishing is over at NPFL, one of the other AOI races, and I think ours is as interesting as any in the country right now. And I was just looking through the list, and I know this is a tricky spot to be in when you're one of the owners. But what do you think when you look down through that top 10 right now, man? Are we going to – I mean, Nick Provanizak sitting on top, 742 points. John Sokup in second, but he's won 2 events. Then you got Keith Carson, David Gasson, Brandon Perkins, a Pickwick local. So just that top 5 right there, like who comes out of those 5 guys, if you could pick a name, who comes out of Pickwick leading?
Whew, man,
Loaded question.
It is, and the way we, when we set up our point structure, Luke, we do 250, and then we drop it a point. You know what I mean? So
yep.
It's hard. We want to reward guys who are consistent.
Right.
So,
right. Which I love.
So yeah. So I'll be honest, man. Like I've got my local favorite, Brandon Perkins. You know what I mean? But here's the thing: Brandon could win this event, and depending on where Nick, John, David, and those guys finish, he could win the event and not jump into the lead.
That's right.
Right. So really, when you start looking at these angle of year races and how we have our structured and where the guys are, like you have to do well, but then you need some help. Like John's got to stumble, Nick's got to stumble, Keith Carson's got to stumble. So I think it's fair to say that there's 3 anglers down here that are locals. So you would tag them as air quote favorites.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of other guys in the field that are ledge fishermen. Look, we've been shallow up to this point throughout the year.
Very shallow too.
Yeah, and you take a guy like Chance Woodard. Like Chance has proven, at Eufaula, we're getting ready to release a montage of him wrecking them for like. I went through the footage, man. It's like 3 hours of him just hammering on him on a ledge, and Eufaula when nobody else caught him deep. Really, you know what I mean? So
that's right.
You come to a place like this. You and I were lucky enough, or I was lucky enough to get to spend the time with you down here a few weeks ago. Here's my thing. I think this is going to be a shake-up tournament, right? I think it's going to close. I think it's going to get tighter. Hey, Fat Cat and I just came off the water, like literally just pulled the boat out. We're here at Pickwick. We went out and rode around, and showed him kind of the lay of the land. We ran into John Sokup. We ran into Luis Fernandez. We ran into a bunch of the guys out there. So they're out there doing it. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. But I think I don't know that Nick relinquishes as a lead unless he really stumbles. But I definitely think we're going to be talking about maybe 8 or 9 guys within striking distance going into Winnebago and Grant. I think this is going to tighten the field up a lot.
Oh, I think so too, man. And I told you when the schedule came out, and you said, "Hey, we're coming to your home pond in July," and I'm like, "Ugh, July can be interesting." But what we've seen in the last few weeks, you and I got out there. I've been out there some. I've got good friends, obviously, that are on the water a lot. And I think this is going to be a lot better event weight-wise than I originally would have guessed, because just kind of we're behind in the year. But it is that great shake-up tournament, I feel like. And normally you see that in all the leagues. At the halfway point, you need a shake-up tournament. And I feel like we've got that, and there'll be some things turned over on their head, but we got a lot of great guys that are in the mix in the standings for sure. I feel, as I look through here, I just feel like it's the same names, same 30 or 40 guys. We talk about it every event, Dudley and I, me and Hallman down at the Harris Chain, to say the least. So with all the business of bass fishing, which I talk about that a lot on here a little bit.
Oh, you do? Okay,
yeah,
wow.
Some talk about the business of bass, and there are lots of things that are always moving and shaking. How do you grade where the league is, the NPFL? Where do you grade where we're at after 3 events in your mind? To you, not to the public, but to you, this dream you guys had. What grade do you give it right now after 3 events?
Well, look, you know me well enough, and we spend enough time together to know that I'm never satisfied, right? Like
yes.
I have a vision. We have a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan for where we want this league to go, and more importantly, how we want to do it, right? So we knew, because of the choices we were making and our business approach and how we were going to do things, that it was going to be tough, man, and it has been. Like it hasn't been easy, but that's okay, right? We knew that, and I'll say this, and this isn't a direct answer to your question, but I'll get there. Is look, man, I just feel like no one's going to outwork us, right? Like when we get up in the morning at events and even at home, like that's the mentality we have. Is we are going to pour everything we have into this, and all that leads to my answer to the question is, man, I would grade us at a solid B, right? And the reason it's not any higher than that, a B+ or whatever, is look, man, we've had challenges throughout the year. Things have not went perfect. I think, how we handle those things and how we look at those things on the business side, everything's falling into place, right? I'm very happy with the business side and the way things are going. I think our anglers are happy. I think us keeping them content and understanding what the business plan is and what we're doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. And, we want to separate ourselves, but not just to be different, right? Like we want to show the fans a little something different. Yes, it's still bass fishing. Yes, it's a Big 5. No, we're not breaking the mold on how bass tournaments are ran. But the little things we're doing look, bro, you and I talked about it. The trailer weigh-in, huge question mark, right?
Yeah, I told you to your family. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. I said it's a terrible idea.
I'll give us
in the beginning.
Yeah, if you break it into phases, tournament execution, bro, I think we're crushing it, right? Like,
no doubt.
Like you look at the weigh-in, the multi-camera view with having, us investing and putting 2 cameras. We got the static tower camera. We got the live weigh-in camera that's on the stage showing different points of view, trying to bring the fans a little closer to the weigh-in action on the live stream. And we've got big plans for that as well, and how we're going to spice that up and sizzle that up. But I give us an A on the weigh-in, man. Like, it's trailer. We're bringing truck and boat wraps back to the forefront. The viewers get to see them. The fans love it. The anglers love it. Look, they're sitting in their air-conditioned truck, instead of standing in a weigh-in line with a weigh-in bag.
Yeah,
the fish are in the live well. Yeah, the fish never leave the live well. Like, we bump the fish. They go right back in the live well. They bring them up. They're on stage or out of the water, and then they're right into our release boat. So our fish spend the less time out of an aerated environment than anywhere else, right? And we're very proud of that. We've got an extremely successful release rate. The guys down in Florida, the FWC, was concerned about it. They were singing our praises when we left because we were in such a low fish kill number, and so it's all falling into place, man. And I will tell you, you had a hand in this. I wasn't going to go to the Classic. I had some other stuff scheduled. I broke loose because we had some things we wanted to do while we were down there. The response from industry has been phenomenal, right? Like it's all kind of happening the way we want it to happen. So, hey, man, for us overall, I'm going to give us a solid B because I know we've got a lot of room to go. But I don't want that to detract from the fact of, look, dude, I'm very, very proud of what we've accomplished so far. I'm very proud of how our anglers have handled things. It all hasn't been pink clouds and cotton candy, right?
It never will be, though. Yeah.
No, but man, we've just done it, right? And that was a big deal. Year one's an execution year. We got to go do what we said we're going to do, and we've done that. And we're very, very excited about 2022, man. It's shaping up to be a deal where we can execute our game plan as we wrote it last year, right? And that's Absolutely. A big deal. Like being able to check those boxes is a big deal for us.
Well, in going towards 2022, because I'm getting a lot of questions about this on social media, and like I always say, like actual questions, not those questions you say you get just so you can talk about it. Like guys film those videos, they're like, I get a lot of questions about the kind of braid I use, so I decided to do a video. Nobody's asking you that, buddy. Calm down. But I am getting a lot of people like, how do you qualify? And so next year, we will be in the league opening up signups again for the open spots that we have, because we did not fill this year. We've been completely candid about that. We had, we shot for 125 and we didn't get there. As the year's gone, we've had a few drop out, and so we're fishing around that 105 angler mark right now. In my opinion, it will fill and then some next year. I think there will be a waiting list just based off the guys I'm talking to, and we have a lot of interest for some very interesting names in the sport of bass fishing. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, man. Like, some of the introductions you made to me at the Classic was, I was taken back by it, right?
Yeah.
To get to talk to some of the people and hear how proud they were of us, how excited they were for us. It really kind of reinstilled my belief in that how good the people are in bass fishing.
No doubt.
Right? There's plenty,
no doubt.
Look, man, the success bucket is a deep, deep bucket, right? Like there's plenty of room for success for a lot of people. And go back to your earlier question, man, I think we've checked some boxes for people, right? Clearly, I know we have because they told me that, right? Like, is there room for another league? Is there the caliber angle that you can put on a live stream for 6 hours a day and have quality fishing going on that you can promote around? Absolutely. So looking at 2022, and I will echo your sentiment. I get asked all the time.
Yes.
We had to turn our application button off of the website because we were getting inundated with things that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to. So we just turned it off. Like, hey, I'm going to focus on this year. I'm going to focus on tournaments. I'm going to get this done. And at a time and place of our choosing where it makes sense, we're going to open this thing up and start filling the fill for 2022. That date is going to be 1 August. We're going to open the application process back up. And here's what I want to tell guys, man. You're never going to see or hear me say on any podcast or anything, any written documentation we've ever put out, these are the requirements. Because the phone call that I make to guys and the conversation I have with them to see where they are in their life, where they are in fishing, and what their goals are, all those things have to match up with what we're doing here at the NPFL. right? Like our anglers will tell you, man, like it's a different game because of we're new and we're growing and we're changing and we as an organization are new and we're changing. So we are going to open that up. And there's not like, well, you have to have won a Costa. You have to have been in the top 20 points in the Toyota Series, or, you know, you have to have finished in your region in the BFL in the top 50. We don't have any of that. I want to know that the person is here for the right reasons and the person is willing to jump on board with the NPFL and help us grow this league.
No doubt.
And you got to be able to fish a little bit. Right, so
that helps. That helps certainly, you know.
Well,
and
dude,
and we've got some fishermen.
Well, yes,
some real deal fishermen, fish catchers.
And dude, there's a lot more out there, right? Like I know, and you know that there's a ton of people, and I get it, man. Like they just weren't ready to make the leap with the NPFL because there were so many unknowns. Like I understand that, and I appreciate the fact that there were guys like, hey, man, I'm just not sold yet, right? Like our job was to build it and sell it and show people, hey, man, for a guy that's hammering out on some other tours and been in the purgatory of trying to qualify and do all these things, like this is a viable option for you, right? You come in, you pay your entry fees, and if you perform, we have proven that we can promote an angler on a national level, right? Mm-hmm. John Sokup, Keith Carson, Nick Pravonovac, Brandon Perk, like those guys are in the top 5-10 of the AOY points will tell you that it's absolutely been a success.
They're getting a lot of love. Yeah.
They're getting a lot of love, right? And they're seeing it and they're able to monetize it, right? That's a big deal. Like, hey, you know, you can take a name so far, but if you can't monetize that and actually make that help you pursue your dream in fishing, then it's all kind of wasted. You know what I mean? And we talk to our anglers about that. Like, hey, man, the first time you get a microphone shoved in your face or a camera shouldn't be the first time you've thought about what you're going to say or what you're going to do, right? Yeah. Like we have those hard conversations with anglers. Like, look, man, as much time as you spend spooling line and checking your reels and sharpening hooks and rigging tackle, you need to peel off some of that time to be prepared to succeed in bass fishing, if that's your goal, right? So we talk to anglers about that. We want them to understand that that's a vital part, not only to the growth, their own personal brand growth, but to the growth of the NPFL. And dude, we've been super happy with, you know, I think John and Keith and Nick and guys all the way down the field, man. Like we got some guys that are very disappointed in their performance so far this year. And I look for them to come out these next 3 events. You know, you said Pickwick's a shakeup. I'd say the remainder of the season is a shakeup.
Oh, for
here at Pickwick,
1,000,000%.
Winnebago, and then we're going to finish up on Grand. That we know it's going to be a very, very tough event. And that's what we wanted, right? That AOY going to that last race, I think it's going to be extremely tight. And the guy who can go out and figure out Grand Lake in October, you know, fishing, that fall fishing that everybody says they love until they have to go out and do it, right? So,
yeah.
Like it's not easy fishing, but just like being down here on Pickwick in July, right? We could have ran north, you know what I mean? We could have went up and jumped in the rotation up there and let guys catch 3-pound smallmouth at will. But look, man, the bulk of the fishing industry and the fans don't get to do that, right? So we're here on Pickwick Lake in July. You're going to see all kinds of different techniques. You're going to see all kinds of different presentations. And I think you're going to see some anglers rise to the top that maybe we hadn't got a lot of love for so far because they haven't performed, but I think they're going to bust out at this event.
Yeah, I think this is, for me, being here at home, I think this is an interesting event, and I've said that over and over, but I just, because I couldn't tell you right now how it's going to shake out. I mean, I know preconceived notions coming in, deep ledge stuff, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of fish out there, but I still think there's going to be somebody do something very unique this week to get up there and in that top 5 potentially win, and I'm anxious to see it. If there was anything, this is kind of a tough one to ask you, but I'm going to ask you, if there was anything you could change from the first 3 tournaments, Brad Fuller, from where your mind was when this started to now, is there anything you would change? I guess should be the question.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know,
is that Fat Cat?
Look, man, I wouldn't change that dude for the world.
I wouldn't either. I love him.
Just as a human being, right?
That's right.
And to see, and honestly, to see his growth from the perspective of being an on the water. If you watch him at Eufaula and you watch him at Leesburg,
that's right.
Like the dude's professional growth has been astounding.
Yeah, it's
right?
amazing.
Like I knew in my heart this is where he needed to be and this is what he needed to be doing, and to see how he's starting to really carve out his niche for what he's doing out there And it's fun, man. Like,
It's
he's
fun.
just a fun dude to be around. But here's the deal, and I think people are seeing now, the dude knows how to fit. Like, he knows fishing,
Yes,
right? Like,
he does.
knows.
And as a fan, loves it. Like,
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
we just went out today and toured around. He's not real familiar with this situation down here as far as, how the fish set up, what happened. So, we were going over some of that stuff and talking to some anglers and just picking their brains a little bit on the water. And you can just see he's sponging it up, man. He's already thinking like, okay, this is how that plays into my on the water coverage, and this is where I need to be. Like, he's starting to hone his craft, if you will, in relationship to what he does in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But man, to go back to your question, Luke, look, man, there's no secrets, right? Like, we've had some things happen in the league this year, and I'm putting my tournament director hat on now, right? One of the 17 I wear. And look, I think you and I have had long discussions about this, bro. That's not a job I wanted, not because I didn't think I was capable and didn't think I could do it, but because I'd never done it. Mm-hmm. And being an owner and running production and working with you and Hallman and Dudley on the production and working with the production team in Wisconsin, and then running the event, the production during the event, moving cameras around, moving Fat Cat around, feeding you guys information, and being tournament director, right? There are definitely some things as a tournament director that I wish I'd have done differently. Mm-hmm. But we did everything at the time with the idea that we were doing the right thing. And I don't think necessarily anything was wrong, but there's things I would have done different, right? And it's look, man, you're not going to be perfect. And we've told our anglers, look, man, I think the difference is that we were willing to stand in front of a group of anglers like we've done and say, hey, man, Brad Fuller, the tournament director, didn't do this the way I wish I would have done it, right? And this is the outcome, and this is how we're going to fix it, and this is what we'll do better in the future. You know what I mean? So, and the anglers being okay with that to a certain degree is where we've ended up, right? So I think in that regard, there's things that I've done different. But as far as the overall league goes and how we've done things and what we've done, the live coverage, working with the anglers, fielding the field, all those things, like, dude, I don't think there's anything I'd change. Somebody may say, well, would you change this? And it may jar my memory. I go, yeah, you're right. I would have changed that. But, since you didn't send me a list of questions beforehand, that's just an honest answer.
You know me, I don't do that. I'm never going to do that. Even to my bros, I'm not going to give any prepared. That's what it's about, just an open conversation. And I would say, from my standpoint with the league and being at every event so far, it is that honesty that is beautiful to see, because fishing, other leagues that I have over the years and being a part of this is something Dudley and I talk about a lot. It's great to see that honesty and transparency come through. And if you guys make a mistake that you deem as a mistake, you're like, hey, I made a mistake. Here it is. This is what we're going to do to fix it. But I also like the ability to not try to be different on purpose. I don't want it to sound like, like you got some wacky idea, but like this week, for instance, I love the imagination. And the Tennessee River is a place that in the summertime, if you're familiar with it, and a lot of you listening are not, Tennessee River rats like myself, but in the afternoon, we have a very strong afternoon bite at times in the summertime that actually is a lot better than that first few hours of daylight bite. And Brad and the ownership group made the decision to start this event, a July Tennessee River tournament, at 8 a.m. We're going to go from 8 to 4, first flight checking in at 4, last flight at 6 p.m., correct, Brad?
Yeah, 6 p.m., yes, sir.
But that's what I'm talking about, that imagination. And y'all can comment below whether you think that's crazy, whether you think that's great. Our live coverage will go from 9 until 3 p.m. the first 2 days, and 9 to 2 on the final day, showdown Saturday. But talk about, because you got some backlash from some anglers on that. I mean, guys that might not have understood the overall theme, what you were going for there. But talk about that decision. Like, what led you to, hey, you know what? Let's shake it up. We can make this apply to kind of the fishery we're on, because the tournament times are always the same everywhere we go, I feel like, right? For every tournament ever. But I like the imagination. Talk about that decision.
Yeah, so, man, I lost sleep over that one, right? So I came down for the pre-site visit, and I couldn't sleep, and I woke up, and I was staying at Pickwick Lodge overlooking the dam. And I woke up at 4 and I'm working on the computer, and man, I'm like, oh man, I've been at this longer than I thought. It must be like 7 o'clock. It was 5.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh man. So you start looking at, well, I'm like, man, it's safe light now. So if we get a bright sunny day, safe light's Like we could be launching this tournament at 5:00, 5:15,
yeah, 5:15, yeah.
Right, and then I started thinking about the production in the live stream. Like, man, I can't go live at 6. I can't go live at 7. You know what I mean? Like viewership is no one's going to be up watching that time of day on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know what I mean? Or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, and then you and I went out and I experienced that. Hey, man, the fishing is actually better in the afternoon. So when I looked at it like this, okay, if I say I'm going to launch it, I'm going to keep our same time frame. I'm going to launch at 6:30. Well, guess what? You've already lost an hour and a half morning bite, right? Like the sun's up and high. If you're fishing, it's going to be shade line, whatever. But we've lost that. So if I'm not willing to launch it at 5 and at 6:30 I've missed a morning bite, how can I make up how can I maximize the bite window for anglers? And I look at the cumulative field. Like I don't look at individuals, right? I look at the cumulative field and go, hey, what can we do as a league to potentially increase the total catch weight or cumulative catch weight for the field for this event? And I felt like through discussions with a lot of people, you included in that, like, hey, man, let's put these guys out at 8 and let's let them fish till 6, right? So some guys are going to fish from 8 a.m. to 6.
Unbelievable.
And so, look, dude, I think I'm gonna take a stab, and my educated guess, which people may argue how educated that is, but I think we potentially increase the cumulative fish catch for this tournament by 30%. Now, where that 30% goes in the field is up to the anglers, right? It's every angler's going to launch at 8. The first flight will check in at 4. Last flight checks in at 6. We flop the field. Everybody gets a chance at a long day. But I feel like we really took the winning weight to over 60. I feel like the big thing is we took that check weight and we moved it from probably 10, 11 pounds to, I think it could be up there in that 13 to 15 range, just depending on the variable weather factors, the flow, how much wind current we get, if it's blowing the same direction as the current. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but at any rate, I think we definitely increased it. And I will own that at the end of this, right? If it's a horrible tournament and we don't do what we thought we were going to do, that'll be my fault, and I'll own it, and I'll take responsibility for it. But guess what, man? Regardless of what happens, I'm still cutting a $50,000 check for first.
That's right. Somebody's going to win.
Well, and dude, I'll be honest. When you say the one thing that surprised me is even the anglers. Like I had a guy, like we pay $30,000 for second. We pay $20,000 for third. We pay $15,000 for fourth and $14,000 for fifth. So there's a lot. $30,000 at second place isn't bad.
That's not a lot to sneeze at. Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? So we're still going to cut a check for a cumulative of $425,000 over the field for this event, no matter what time we fish it. And I think, but that's how the decision came about, was looking at the fish catch windows, when I thought we could maximize our potential for the anglers to have the best days possible. And when you throw the production value in on top of that, look, man, this is all about viewership, right? This is all about entertaining you and Dudley doing your job, Brian, Kyle, the whole team up in Wisconsin and Visser doing their job on the production. And the anglers got to go out and do their job, right? Their job is to go out and hook them and catch them and bring them to the scales. I'll tell you, Luke, I was out there, man, water temps are like 81. Right?
Yeah,
like
not as warm as it should be right now, yeah.
Everything is behind. I think, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think they're going to crack them this week. And I think it's going to be a great tournament, and I think it's going to be some fireworks, and I'm really excited to get this thing going.
Yeah, been looking forward to this one all year, man. It's going to be weird calling a tournament on the home lake, though. I'm going to be honest, it's going to be a weird week, but it's also going to be fun. I hope I can add some insight to kind of what goes down on the ledges and out there on the Tennessee River.
Well, dude, you and I talked about it, and it's funny because I've had a conversation with anglers. Everybody wants a tournament on their home lake until they get a tournament on their home lake. And they see everything that brings. And I feel a little bit like that with you in the conversations you and I've had. Like, man, you got so much knowledge here, and you're not fishing it. You are commentating it. And, I want you – I've told you and Dudley the whole time, man, you guys go be you, and you do what you do, and everything's going to work out, right? And I want to echo that sentiment. I've told you that before. But – I'm just excited because your unique insight, and then you throw big double D talking about the chess game.
Yeah, that's
Look,
right.
Man, this is going to be a chess, more so than any other tournament. How you move those chess pieces, when you move those chess pieces, this is a timing deal, right? So us being able to capture that in a production format and showing that to the world on TNPFL.com is going to be a big deal.
Yes,
so I think that's our job. Everyone hey, man, every man up, and you do your job, and everything's going to work out just fine. And I think the fans are going to love the coverage we're bringing this week.
Yeah, I think this week's going to be fun, man. I appreciate the kind words, and I look forward to doing it. And, hey, I'll be honest with you. I like to sleep, so that 9 a.m. takeoff for me on live is just perfectly fine. I actually had one of our anglers yesterday said, can we do this all the time, this 8 a.m.? He was texting me. He's like, man, I love to sleep. I'm all about this 8 a.m. blast off.
Well, bro, we had fishing church scheduled this morning for 5:30. So a little mixed up with the Bernard's room this week, So he racked out with me last night. It was weird us being in a king bed together, but we made it work.
You and the big cat, huh? Shacked up.
Yeah, yep. And so I woke up at 5, and dude, it was a frog choker, man. Like it was coming down.
Oh yeah.
And literally, I didn't bring my raincoat in. And I parked as far away from the lodge as I could. So I made the run to my truck. I jumped in my truck, and there was a text from the guys who run fishing church. Said, hey, guys, do the lightning. We're going to postpone it and do it Monday morning. but so I crawled back into bed, soaking wet with B, and got another hour or two of sleep. So I'll take them because we don't get those extra hours during
not
week,
this week.
When everything starts. So
no, it's balls
I felt
to the wall,
very
man.
I was very refreshed and ready to rock and roll this morning. And
it.
Yep. So I patted B on the behind as I left the room and told him to sleep tight. And we went from there, man.
Dreams of Vienna sausages and 3-wheelers in his head. Fat cat.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man, I love it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, dude, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna put the ringmaster of the traveling circus on the spot here. What based on what you know about this place and the field of anglers we had, you may have said this already. What's Luke Duncan's predictions on weight to win and a check weight? I'm dying to know.
I am going closer. I said 59 pounds last week, and I stick by that. I said that on Instagram.
Okay.
59 pounds, so just shy of 20 a day, because Saturdays on the Tennessee River can get interesting because of boat traffic and different things like that. So that can affect the overall weight, right? I think Thursday and Friday we're going to see a lot of fireworks. I think we'll see fireworks on Saturday, but maybe not as many with as many guys because you have a lot of local pressure, a lot of, pontoon, wakeboarding. Everybody out there having a good time. So it changes things up for sure. So I think that could hurt the 20-pound a day average, but I think 59 pounds to win, and I think to get a check, I'm going to go. These guys have blown me away all year with the 3-day average that it's taken everywhere we've gone. Like it's been stupid to get a check. Yeah, right? It's been stupid everywhere we've gone. And man, I'm going to say like 13 a day to get paid.
Yep.
It could be more like 12, but I'd say 13 a day. There's so many freaking 2.5 and 3 pounders in the lake right now. I feel like that I feel, and you saw that the day we went. I mean, there's a lot. It's really healthy, and you can catch them a lot of different ways. So I would say 13 a day.
Let me throw this curveball at you and see if this changes your mind. Right. So I got 2 pictures from 2 different anglers today with, I'm going to guess what are 4+ class smallmouth.
Mm-hmm.
So. Is that going to change things up if those things are catchable?
No, because they're freaking ghosts.
Right.
They're here one day, gone tomorrow. They'll show up. We're going to see brown ones at our weigh-in every single day. You may see guys weigh in 5 brown ones, but this time of year it's really hard to be consistent with them. Very, very hard. They're not as congregated as they are, 2 months ago, where you could really target them.
I agree with you. We've missed the check weight at every event.
Big time. Big
right?
time.
So, dude, I think that speaks to the strength of the field.
No doubt.
Right? Like, hey, man, it's just like we say with the elites and BPT and the pro circuit. Like, you put 105 guys out there, 110 guys that are driven, have 3 days of practice, and can catch them. Like, it speaks to your ability.
They're going to figure it out. Yeah.
Absolutely. And with the no information and with the restricted access and off limits, like these guys haven't been on this body of water in 20 days.
Right.
So anything they had prior, and how it changes, from end of June to now, Like so they're out there seeing it today, man. There were some long faces out there today, bro.
I bet.
You know what I mean? And
I bet.
But there were some guys who are like, we just roll up on them real subtle and say, hey man, you're halfway through your first day of practice, and the grin it touches their earlobes.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be again. I think that 13-pound range. I'm gonna take the over on that, just because if I'd have done that in every event, I'd have been right.
That's
so far.
a fact.
So. Me and we'll bet either a cold beverage or a steak dinner.
A Freddie T's milkshake. Freddie T's milkshake.
Oh, all right, we can roll that way.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take the over.
All right, take the over. I like it. Well, buddy, I am grateful you carved out some time to let me pick on you a little bit on LBL. And we're coming up on a year since we did the first ever Brad Fuller, Paul Benson, Luke Duncan LBL. So it's
wow.
We're almost there, man. We're about 2 weeks away from that being a year. That's crazy to think about, man. But having a blast on the NPFL, and I appreciate you coming on, being honest and open like always, dude. And I can't wait to throw down this week in Counts, Tennessee. Y'all be sure to watch us. Go follow tnpfl.com for all the live action. Get on the National Professional Fishing League, all of our social media. You never know what's going to be on there. That's for sure.
That's an understatement.
That's an understatement.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brad Fuller. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, man. See you in a few days.
See you, buddy. Brad Fuller right there, boss man. And like he mentioned, they're just super honest, man. Guy is transparent as they come. He's not going to hide from anything, and it's a breath of fresh air working with these guys, honestly. And there have been some questionable moments, throughout the year. We've had some weird ones. We had the River Lee disqualification that was talked about all over, from Facebook keyboard warriors, but that weren't actually there. But they made the right call on that decision, and we've had some interesting things happen that, and they've handled it. They've handled it to the best of their abilities, and I'm proud to be a part of the league. And y'all check us out, low lifers. Give us a chance at Pickwick Lake. I know we're going up against Bass in the Elite Series, and they're going to be catching them smallmouth up at the St. Lawrence River. But I promise you, this group of anglers are very special. They're great on camera. If you haven't watched us yet this year, give us a look this week. We kick off Thursday. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and TNPFL.com from 9 to 3. Me and Double D, David Dudley, and Fat Cat Newton. All right. Thank you to each and every one of y'all for tuning in every week. I appreciate it. Love doing this, man. I'm sorry I feel like I'm out of it today because of this. Like I said, this souped up, I forget what it's even called. So my doctor called it a souped up Benadryl, but I'm like in a fog. So if I'm a little more goofy than normal, I apologize. But I thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. I love doing this each and every week. Next week, I'm going to try to do something a little different because I'm going to have a lot of the guys are going to be close here to the Casa because of the NPFL being at Pickwick. So going to have a good time with LBL next week. Make sure to hug your mom. I'm going to take you out with some Biloxi Blues, a little song that I wrote. And go check out the new music on iTunes right now. Luke Duncan and Shannon Wheeler. The COVID sessions, go give it a listen and give me a holler. Let me know what you think. I will see y'all next time.
I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.